Good morning. My name is Landen Welch, Human Resources Consultant for Thunder Valley. I specialize in cross-cultural HR strategies, and today I'll share how our team is preparing for expansion to Djibouti. We'll explore 5 key cultural dimensions and conclusions and recommendations based upon those dimensions that will help our employees integrate respectfully and successfully. To guide you through this topic, I'll begin with an overview of Djiboutian culture and social norms. Thunder Valley is entering the Djiboutian market, in which HR has studied Djiboutian culture and norms. Then we'll dive into the 5 cultural dimensions, which are time orientation, power distance, communication style, individualism and collectivism, and low and high context. After that, we'll conclude with conclusions and recommendations for our employees and best business practices. Time orientation, the Djiboutian perspective. Djibouti has a relaxed view of time, deadlines are flexible, and being late is often acceptable. Family, stability, and long-term relationships take priority over strict schedules. In business, punctuality is still respectful, but meetings typically start a few minutes late and end when goals are met rather than at a fixed time. Power distance, hierarchical structures in Djibouti. Djiboutian culture values hierarchy and status. Leaders are respected for their wealth, education, and character, and most business decisions flow from the top down. Gender roles also reflect this hierarchy. While women can participate in business, traditional norms and lower literacy rates create barriers that we must acknowledge and address with respect. Communication style, culture, and Djiboutian business. Communication in Djibouti emphasizes respect and privacy. Sensitive matters should be discussed in private, and aggressive tactics are frowned upon. Greetings vary by age, gender, and status. For example, men nod rather than shake hands with women, and proper eye contact, titles, and respectful gestures are vital to creating trust. Low and high context Djiboutian norms. Djiboutian is a high contextual culture, meaning messages rely heavily on shared understanding rather than direct words. Customs also matter. Showing the soles of your feet or eating with the left hand is considered rude. While hospitality is common, there are unspoken cultural cues we must respect to build lasting and strong relationships. Individualism and collectivism, survival through support. Djibouti places a high value on collectivism. Life revolves around family and tribal support systems rather than individual achievements. Extended families often live together, and even strangers are willing to help one another out. For Thunder Valley, building relationships with local communities and understanding these collective values will be essential to gaining local trust. Now I'll walk through the conclusions and recommendations listed for each cultural dimension, for every area from time orientation to high and low context. I'll highlight the key conclusions we reached, followed by the recommendations for a successful integration for Thunder Valley into Djibouti. This research will be synthesized from A to Z World Press, Laban Guru, our telephone interview, and Culturograms. Time orientation, conclusions, and recommendations. In summary, Djiboutians approach time with flexibility, prioritizing family and relationships over strict deadlines. Our recommendation is to adapt to this cultural norm by creating flexible schedules with larger gaps between meetings or projects. This will show respect for their values while still allowing us to meet our business objectives. Power distance, conclusions, and recommendation. Djibouti's respect for hierarchy means leaders and high-status individuals have significant influence. Women face challenges due to traditional norms, despite legal protections. We recommend implementing skill building and educational programs for women while maintaining cultural respect. Encouraging gender equality thoughtfully will strengthen both our workforce and local partnerships. Communication style, conclusions, and recommendations. Djiboutians value polite, non-confrontational communication. Public disputes or aggressive tactics can harm relationships. We recommend developing protocols for addressing conflicts privately and offering guidelines for greeting professional etiquette. These steps will help our team build trust and avoid cultural misunderstandings in business settings and meetings. Individualism and collectivism, conclusions and recommendations. Djiboutians rely heavily on collective networks like tribes and extended families for survival and success. We recommend that Thunder Valley form partnerships with tribal leaders, engage with employees, families, and offer community support. By aligning with this collective mindset, we'll strengthen our reputation and long-term relationships in Djibouti. Low and high context, conclusions and recommendations. As a high context culture, Djibouti requires us to be aware of subtle cues and customs. We recommend adopting local practices such as avoiding gestures seen as disrespectful and respecting dining etiquette. Including these cultural elements in company policies will prevent accidental offenses and demonstrate our commitment to cultural sensitivity. Today, we explored Djibouti's 5 key cultural dimensions, which were time orientation, power distance, communication style, individualism and collectivism, and high and low context cultures. For each, we reviewed conclusions and tailored recommendations to those conclusions to help Thunder Valley integrate respectfully and effectively. By applying these insights, we can avoid cultural missteps, build local trust, and ensure a smoother market entry. These 5 dimensions will serve as a foundation for cross-cultural success. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing these strategies put into action.